Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a review of Batman vs. Superman. I usually do wrestling reviews, but I thought after seeing the movie, I finally got a chance to see it a couple of days ago, I thought I would say something about it because there's a lot of controversy with some people. Some people 100% loved the movie, thought it was best since sliced bread. Some people hated the movie. Some people are totally ambivalent about saying, what did I just see? I don't know what to think of it. So I thought I'd say my parts on it. So, my feeling about the movie is this. If anyone remembers the Matrix series, the Wachowski brothers made an arc. 3 movies. 2 of those 3 movies, they split it in half because it was longer than 2 hours. It was almost a 4-hour movie if they had kept it. They had a choice between either cutting it down to 2 and really missing a lot of stuff and making it very confusing for the people, or they split the movie in half and did it in 2 sittings. That's what they did. That's when you got The Matrix Reloaded and Revolution. And I know a lot of people didn't like Revolution that much compared to Reloaded. Reloaded was better than Revolution. I got the series. I got Reloaded, Revolution, and the original Matrix. I got them. So I can understand what people are saying. Revolution was never as good as Reloaded and the original Matrix. It just wasn't. It wasn't bad. It had great special effects, but I felt that it just didn't have enough in it. There was something just missing. But when it comes to Superman vs. Batman that just released, the problem is that it seems that when it came to DC, they decided, instead of doing what the Wachowski brothers did and cut the movie in half, they decided to slim the movie down to under 2.5 hours. And that is where the issue is. This is nearly almost a 3-part movie that has been cut down and makes no sense to a lot of people. Yeah, there's a lot of people who love it, but then that's if the people who are hardcore fans of the comics and maybe the movies, like there were 2 movies that were released in 2012 and 13, which is Batman, I gotta remember it because I botched it a couple of times. Batman The Dark Knight Returns, that came out in 2012. That was part 1. Part 2 came out in 2013. And that was the animated cartoon. There was a part 1 and 2 to it. And this is where I believe not everything, a lot of it came from the comics for Ben Affleck. And some of it I did believe came from this 2 movies. Not completely, just a little bit of aspects of it. I do believe that Ben as the Dark Knight Returns, he's alright. He wasn't a bad Batman. But here's the problem. He had no time to really develop his character within 30 to 40 minutes. You needed more time for the new Batman. Look, Batman Begins, The Dark Knight, and The Dark Knight Rises is kind of orientated towards Batman the Animated Series back in 1991 to 1990. I know it's not exactly like the TV series. It's not. But a lot of the same premises were there. Batman didn't kill anybody. Batman fought to try and care for people. He acted really like a detective. And he was one damn badass good fighter. He rarely and almost never used guns. But when it comes to Ben Affleck, and I have to say this, there's going to be spoilers in this. There's spoilers coming up. He's a Dark Knight that is from The Dark Knight Returns. He's a Dark Knight that's willing at one point to another, after 20 years of being the regular Batman that was like from the animated series, he's pretty much done with this. He's willing to do whatever it takes to do what he has to do. Now, I know I'm not exactly accurate about this. Please don't chew me out. I'm not a total follower of the comics because a lot of the cartoon series, even the movies, are based on the comics. This is a loose interpretation of what I've seen. And it's basically that Ben Affleck is a Dark Knight that's willing to use guns. He's willing to kill, and he does in the movie. There's no way he didn't kill somebody in the movie. In Batman Begins, when you see the Tumbler, not one person's dead. Everyone survives. In this, where they have a similar kind of Tumbler look, I mean, the new Batmobile has a homage of the previous movies, just slimmed down into a more smaller frame. That's the truth. And it looked good. But Batman uses guns. He kills people. He brands people. The previous Batman and Batman, the animated series, never branded anybody. This is a total departure of what we've seen over 25 years of what has been shown in television and what's been shown in movies. And I think 40 minutes is not enough to get that Batman over for everyone. And when it came to the new Superman, A Man of Steel, where he killed Zod, Superman, even when it came to Clark Kent, who was played by Christopher Reeve originally, then the new Batman Returns in 2005 or 6, he didn't generally kill anybody. Not on purpose. This Batman killed someone to do whatever he had to stop him. And then instead of focusing on him a little bit, while you're still focusing on the general new Batman, you give him a huge chunk of a story that he's got to tell within about 40 minutes before the fight. Or maybe an hour if you're even lucky. And then it came to Wonder Woman. I'm not against the actress who played Wonder Woman. I don't know her name. It was Griella or something. I'm really bad with names, so don't be too mad. Maybe I'll put the names of these actors in the description of Batman for Superman and Wonder Woman, unless you already know them. I'm bad with names. But when you see her, the issue I had with her wasn't that she couldn't act. She wasn't that bad of an actress. And it's not because of her size. Wonder Woman has been drawn in different shapes. And I agree with Angry Joe. I did see most of his review of Batman vs. Superman. And I'm going to see the rest of it, including his spoiler of it. But it wasn't the issue that she wasn't the perfect Wonder Woman. Admittedly, I felt that she was a little too short for my personal taste. Not that I like short women or tall women. I just feel like if you're going to depict Wonder Woman, she needed to be a little taller with her armor on. And the problem here is, I know you're going to say, well, we saw her at the end of the movie. That's the issue. Wonder Woman, who has been just given a light spotlight, I understand they're going to show her more in the next movie, shouldn't even been shown in this movie. What should have happened if you have to show her, if it was that important, you should have shown her in that one little segment that Batman was finding out who the hell this woman was, tracking down the information, and he found this same woman seen in 1916, just before World War I, fighting somewhere in Europe. It would have been better if they had cut to that scene in Europe and actually shown her fighting. For me personally, seeing her face against Doomsday, who was Zod, which made no sense to do this in this movie, was wrong. It would have been better if she's been... I'm getting frustrated here. I'm sorry, but essentially, Wonder Woman, if you have to show her, at least show her in a past scene in history where she was a fighter. Because seeing her dressed in a gown, seeing her trying to be clever is cool and all, but it's not enough for me personally. I wanted to see her actually show that she had skills. Because seeing her at the end dealing with Doomsday was wrong. I feel like there should have been an extra scene where maybe she had to go up against Ben, or maybe she had to run in with Superman briefly, or like I said, let there be a cutscene going back to 1916 and you show a short fight with her, and then they take the picture just a little after that, and it would make sense to see that, one, she's dealt with humanity before. She's some type of unusual metahuman, if you don't know who she really is. Two, we could see if she could fight or not. And I felt we didn't get that. And then, when you look at the very end of the movie, when it came to Doomsday and dealing with Lex Luthor's son, Alexander Luthor, where a lot of people are wondering, why did they go there? Why couldn't they use Lex? Come on, if you got Superman, you always got to have Lex. By actually using Lex's son, unless Lex's son, Alexander, is going to take his father's name and be called Lex Luthor or Lex Jr., Alexander Luthor just doesn't have the same ring to it. It just didn't feel right. And I just can't agree with him. I'm not saying he's a bad actor. It just didn't seem to flow properly with him like that. And I would have liked a real Lex Luthor character to be in that situation. In every movie that's been produced, Superman, the original one with Christopher Reeve, Superman 2, well, to a certain extent, Superman 2, more Superman 3, or The Quest for Peace, Superman. Then Superman Returns, and there's a Lex Luthor there too. You go with Alexander Luthor? It really doesn't make any sense. And you can say a lot about the different books that have been written about Superman. But generally, there's always been a Lex Luthor. And I think they missed the mark with this. And if you had to have an Alexander Luthor, you should have had Lex first. Like I said, make there 2 more movies. Show Superman slightly dealing with the situation after what happened with Zod. Show about him dealing with what's going on with what's going on with the government. Dealing with Lex Luthor, and then Lex dies and Alexander Luthor takes over. And then the next movie, that's when Alexander really deals with the situation. And even if you go with Zod as a new Doomsday, instead of doing like they did in all the comic books where Doomsday was created, it would have made more sense. I just feel like they really missed a boat with this. But do I believe it was a bad movie? No. It was a good movie. They had some decent to good storytelling, but I felt like they smashed it all too much. There was very little time to build the Superman after the last movie. There was almost no time to build Batman and his new character as The Dark Knight Returns from 2000. At least if you're going by the movie, the 2 movies of 2012 and 13 in the comics, he needed his own movie by himself. And then Wonder Woman literally had no time at all, and it would have been better to leave her out of it completely if you really wanted to focus on Batman and Superman. I truly believe they really made some big mistakes here, but it was still a good movie, and I would suggest you still watch it. Just understand, when it comes to Batman, he's not the Dark Knight from the Dark Knight series of 1990. He's not the Dark Knight when it comes to Batman Begins, the Dark Knight, and the Dark Knight Rises, where he generally tries not to kill anybody. This Batman kills. He literally, in one scene, trying to save Superman's mom, which is Martha, the same as his own mom, he shoots the crap out of a lot of people with their very own guns. This is why I think people are going to have an issue. But this is just my point of view. What's yours? So I hope you enjoyed this review of Batman vs. Superman. Give me a comment below. Just know that I do not do these often. I don't do reviews other than wrestling. This is just my point of view. But I want to hear yours. Have a good day and have a good night. Peace!